Hi you guys, it's Trainer Tiff with Tackle It with Tiff, and today for your pep talk I wanted to talk to you about tracking your progress and if you could possibly be limiting your progress because you're not tracking it properly. So there are several different ways that you can track your progress, and that can be, by your jean size, by the scale, body fat percentage, circumference measurements, things like that. There's several different ways of tracking your progress, and there's also performance-based. So one thing that I want you guys to focus on, especially at the beginning, a lot of times your goals are based on weight or on the size of your pants, things like that. And that's all very important stuff too. But you also want to make sure that you're not limiting your progress by only focusing on one aspect of tracking. So you want to make sure that you have like a multifaceted way of tracking your progress. So if you are only focusing on the size of your pants or on weight, stuff like that, weight, a lot of times people don't realize that it's very subjective because it can be changed overnight by how much you drank the day before, if you had something that had more salt in it, if you trained really hard and your body's just retaining water from your training. There's several different factors that contribute to weight, and it varies daily. It can even vary by a few pounds daily. So you don't just want to stick to tracking your progress by weight. At the same time, circumference measurements, which is when you take a fabric measuring tape and put it around different parts of your body. The circumference measurements can also be a little tricky sometimes, because sometimes your circumference doesn't tell you what what your arm is made of or what your leg is made of. So body fat percentage, it's, really what you're pretty much going for is your body fat percentage to drop. Now, it's a little bit trickier to get body fat percentages because you definitely need somebody with you who's trained in how to properly gauge it. So a lot of times that's a hindrance, and you can't do it by yourself. You have to have a friend, and that friend needs to be trained on how to properly measure. But that is pretty much what you're going for. Now, a really good way of seeing progress is through pictures. And again, pictures can't tell you everything, so you still need to make sure that you check one of the other progress methods to make sure that your progress is going forward. So take pictures, because pictures are very, very telling a lot of times, and make sure that you try to stay as consistent in the picture as possible. Make sure it's in the exact same place in your house. Make sure you're wearing about the same items of clothing. Make sure that the same lights are on, so that all of the same factors are there. You're the only thing that's changing. Pictures are extremely important because they can show you what shadows are showing up, what body parts are slimming down, things that you may have not noticed, and you can compare those side by side very easily to see your progress. And of course, then finally, there's also performance-based progress. So, if you could only do 30 push-ups last month and then you challenge yourself to do 50 this month and you make it, that's a performance-based progress. And it is very telling as well to let you know that there is something very good happening within your body that you wouldn't have realized on the scale or anything like that. Something else that I mentioned to a lot of people recently that showed the very serious difference between different types of tracking for progress is that when my husband and I first met up with our nutritionist, and then 3 weeks later when we had our checkup, now my scale didn't move, and I was getting a little frustrated, and I was like, well, if I changed my food, definitely the scale would move. And I was wearing the exact same pants and everything like that. And we go back to get our body fat measured, and I dropped 6% body fat. Now again, the scale did not move. I literally replaced muscle with fat. So I dropped 6% body fat in 3 weeks. I trained hard, I cleaned up my eating and everything like that. And we made sure that all the measurements were on key with what she was telling us to do. And 6% body fat in 3 weeks. Now, 3 weeks is not a long time. At the time, it can feel like it takes forever. But to not see the scale move at all, and then you go back and realize that you dropped 6% body fat, that's a big ordeal. And the scale never moved, ever. And I still was wearing the same pants and everything. Well, the pants fit differently, but they still were the same size because I was building good, healthy muscle mass. So that's what you guys need to focus on as well. You know, I was noticing big gains in the gym so I could lift heavier, you know, and that's another reason you want to track your training as well. So every time you do a workout, you should have a notebook or a piece of paper and a pen with you so you can write down the weights that you're doing, what exercises you're doing, and then you can actually go back and see what weights you were lifting when and see how fast you're progressing, or if you're not progressing, what you may want to push harder on this time than you did last time, how you want to readjust your workouts, stuff like that. So make sure that you pick a different way to track your progress all the time so that you it's kind of a checks and balances with your body to make sure that, you know, it's telling you the right information, that you're getting all the information it's sending you, because there could be some very serious changes going on and you just don't realize it. Also, listen to any compliments that you get from people. Those are another good, easy way to track. A lot of times we won't notice the changes that are going on within ourselves, but other people start seeing it and they'll kind of mention, hey, you know, your cheekbones are kind of coming in a little bit, or, ooh, I like those collarbones, and hey, you've got some shoulders, or your waist is coming in, and, you know, listen to those compliments, because a lot of times they've seen it before, they just haven't mentioned it until that time. So, you know, you're progressing more than you think that you are. So keep on track, you guys. You're doing a fantastic job. Stay positive. You know, keep eating clean. Get sweat-tastic every single day, and I'll see you guys on the slimmer side.